The main idea with this video is the concept of acceptance is key, and while this is very much pertaining to one's discovery journey, this is essentially just like a decent piece of advice for life in general. The first part of any type of discovery journey you're going on, or any scientific experiment you're trying to do, is observation. And there's two specific things that comes with that's supposed to happen within observation. One, you're taking in information, and two, you're allowing that information to be whatever it is without whatever personal bias you might have toward it. That way, said personal bias does not end up affecting the observation itself. Now, yes, this does also mean you're going to have to know exactly what would be classified as an objective observation, and an observation through the lens of whatever bias you might have not been aware of. And that in itself is something that you're supposed to figure out. But I will be giving two specific examples from my personal experience. They sound similar, they're not really similar. Also, I have been getting into wearing scrunchies. I only have one, and I have already essentially decided that scrunchies and hair clips are the way to go for me for a long time, basically. Completely aside of the video I'm supposed to do you understand how many times I end up hitting the back of my head on something like a wall when I'm trying to write, while I'm on my bed? You probably shouldn't be doing that to begin with, but at the same time, my room is the most comfortable space for me to be writing in general. The least amount of felt perception. And I don't have a general desk to write at. So I just write while I'm laying in my bed, and I have a very specific way of either laying or sitting in my bed that is closer to the pillows, which is also closer to the wall. Again, the main reason as to why I end up hitting the back of my head against the wall and with the clip in my head. No, but I still kind of need my hair out of my face, so I'm doing more scrunchies when I'm not doing clips, just to make sure that the back of my head is not having to deal with a lot of concussions because of the clips. It's a lot easier to go ahead and just overall take care of my hair that way, but take care of my health in general. So yes, you will see that I have a scrunchie on my wrist. It is actually very distracting because I can feel it. I can sense that it's there, and I also end up just getting distracted. It's two-tone. I got it from the dollar store. Back to the personal examples I'm trying to talk about. The first one is actually that I tend to feel weird or strange around large groups of people, but around most people, which is actually the main reason as to why I don't initiate interaction first. Because how does one do so? I feel awkward about it. That could also just be because I don't want to be bothering anyone, and they could just be on their own, doing their own thing, not wanting to be bothered. But then I'm also just thinking about things in the manner that I would be in that situation, which probably doesn't help in that case. And the second one is I do not seem close to a lot of my blood relatives and generalized family members. And if I'm going to be honest, I don't think I was that close to the ones that I specifically saw very often in the first place. That closeness itself wasn't instinctual. Now, one of the main things that I think is causing us to not be able to accept things and immediately want to go ahead and change things and essentially stress ourselves out trying to change things, it's kind of because we're not really given the opportunity to take our time and essentially sit with and accept things as they are without having to figure out either A, how to change it, or B, what do I do with this information. And honestly, I am blaming the way the society has turned out to be, has turned out to end up. Yes, I am blaming the way of the world right now. We don't usually get time to essentially pause, and that's kind of because we're all essentially just hamsters running on a wheel that we are turning as we run. Maybe this is the reason why they call it a rat race. God dang it. And we don't really take time to sit there with the information and figure out what the actual situation or the actual issue is. Sometimes that's just because we would much rather take the path of least resistance, and we don't think we need to learn anything else. Sometimes it's literally us just being closed-minded, and other times it's simply because no one has taught us how to do that, so we've essentially grown up doing what everyone else was doing. But with a lot of things, practice makes progress, not perfection, and stuff like that gets easier as you continue to practice it consistently. So with the personal examples that I gave earlier, here are some of the solutions or some of the things that I've just decided to accept in general that I probably did before now, but a lot had built up over time subconsciously and having to deal with being in an environment where someone is very specifically in my ear telling me that I am essentially the problem in both of these situations doesn't help anything. When it comes to me being around random people, a large group of random people, I still have no idea as to whether it's anxiety or intuition that usually tells me not to interact with people. But regardless, most of the time I believe that it would be much better for me to feel comfortable if I didn't. And for the most part, it didn't really bother me until. And the second one, me not instinctually being close to most of my family members and blood relatives, it's kind of because of the way that my brain both consciously and subconsciously works. And at the same time, it's not a personal thing. It is literally the idea of path of least resistance. Two completely different expectations, a lot of space that essentially divides us. And similar to the first one, it only bothered me a little bit because I originally thought maybe they just didn't love me, and that I had to go ahead and go through a lot of my own internal conflict just to get to the point where I'm able to say it wasn't a personal thing. And me also trying to not close that gap is not necessarily a personal thing against them either. It's not inherently a bad thing, but it was something that was specifically used to help make the case of me being the problem in that situation, because I am essentially the common denominator in that situation. It literally was someone trying to go ahead and make it more of a personal thing than it actually was. So in conclusion, full acceptance of what is can help you figure out what to do next. And don't allow people who don't love themselves or accept who they are tell you what your problem is or how to live your life, because they have a very specific way that they think things should be. And without that being disclosed directly by them, you probably wouldn't know unless your brain works the way that mine does and is able to pick up on things like that. There's some of the tiniest pieces of information from actions alone. Full disclosure, while I'm trying to film this video, there's a lot going on in my life personally and like health-wise right now. Generally speaking, I probably should have waited until I was a bit more calm, cool, and collected to have filmed this video, but at the same time I wanted to go ahead and film this video because I wanted to continue on this project, because that's the only thing I can't do in this moment. So if I seemed all over the place in this video, it's kind of because I am, and also I ended up having to rewrite this outline for this video because I wrote it while I was going through my take a step back from YouTube time, and the way that I wrote it, my current brain didn't quite understand it, so I ended up having to rewrite it to be able to make a video a lot easier than if I just used the other one. Making things a lot easier for future me, or me filming this video, so it's less all over the place. That is probably the best example of acceptance is key that we will ever get. And on that note, I'm gonna have to leave. I still got more stuff that I need to get done. So please don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell to be notified of whenever I post. Put any type of questions, comments, concerns, or ideas for future videos in the comment section down below. With all that being said, I am Toki, aka your local internet friend, and this is Toki saying Toki out.